Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to walk you through how to run a hyper profitable influencer partnership. So if you're new to the channel and this is like your first video watching me, well, firstly, thanks for being here. And so what I'm going to be talking about is how you can actually partner with an influencer and essentially leverage their audience while you focus 100% on setting up a back-end system so that you guys can monetize and go into a revenue share partnership. And so this is profitable for both of you. It's a win-win situation because you get to do what you like and you don't have to be on camera. You can just be behind the scenes, have your freedom and work from anywhere. And the influencer continues doing what they're good at and why they have so many followers, which is basically creating content and promoting whatever offer that you create. So that's essentially what I'll be talking about. The business model is named like shadow operating. So if you're new to this stuff, I encourage you to check out the other videos on my channel where I go into a lot of detail on more about this. But for this video specifically, I'll be talking about once you do land a partnership with an influencer, like what do you do and what does it look like? So before I get into like the details of the partnership, I think the first thing that you want to make sure you do is actually pick the right partner, right? Because not everyone is going to be a good partner. And there's a lot of things involved. For example, they obviously need to have a minimum amount of followers. So you don't want to go too low, like someone with 10,000 followers, although they could be a great partner, they just don't have enough audience and volume to generate enough sales and traffic, right? So I'm mainly focused on people who are at least 30 to 50,000 and above followers on Instagram. And those are the ones who you can actually partner with and build a real business behind. But aside from followers, they obviously need to be in a good niche. So like solving a specific pain point, not just a lifestyle influencer or someone who's, I don't know, maybe making viral videos, but not actually delivering any real value to people. Like that is not going to work so well, right? So yeah, again, I've got many videos on how you actually pick a right influencer. So I encourage you to watch that. So yeah, I'm assuming, okay, you've found an influencer who meets the criteria and now you're in a partnership with them. So this is what you do. Now, the first thing is you want to make sure your communication is on point. Because like landing a partnership is like probably, I'd say 20% of the success of the business, right? Once you got the partnership, what you do from there on, the other 80% is honestly so important and it will basically determine how much money you'll make from this business and also how long the partnership lasts, right? So I'll be going through my story with my partnership. The guy that you saw on the thumbnail of this video that you clicked on, his name's Joseph. And so I'll be going through our partnership together and kind of why it worked and kind of why it lasted 18 months, you could say, for this shadow operating business. So yeah, like, as I said, communication is a big one. Like as you're building things in the business, as you're progressing, you want to make sure that you're communicating with the influencer and updating them on details, on changes, on just anything in general that is important. Like Joseph and I, we had very active communication when we first like launched and actually throughout the whole partnership. And that was the thing, like we were both, if we're awake, we'll respond basically immediately. And I think speed in business is so important and that is the key to success. So again, like that goes back to finding the right type of partner. If you're finding someone who's quite like lazy and takes time to respond and has other responsibilities, it might not work as well. Whereas if you find someone who has an audience, is motivated, wants to make money, then they're more likely to communicate with you because communication is a two-way thing, right? It can't just be you sending the messages and no one's responding. And of course, like we're not trying to bug them like with just pointless stuff. We're actually saying, hey, look, here's the website I built. What's your feedback on that? Did you want anything changed? Like these are things that will directly generate revenue. So that's one thing, one pillar to our business relationship was that Joseph and I had very active communication and would basically respond instantly to each other. And then later on, I think, was it maybe over 6 months into our business relationship, as the business was doing really well, we're doing around 60K to 70K a month on average. And so I moved to Dubai, and we would actually meet up in person. So, we could actually have our laptops next to each other and would go through different things and like kind of say, okay, today we're going to go through what content we plan out for the month. Okay, next day might be making fixes to the funnel or whatever. So yeah, we were just able to have close contact. And so yeah, that's very, very first thing is active communication. If you can get that with an influencer, you guys will progress faster, make more money, have a better relationship, and just, yeah, it's the best thing and the first thing you want to make sure you have. Now, the second thing is speed, and I'll group it with execution, okay? So speed of execution, let's call it that. And so, like, as you're doing things in the business, you want to make sure that you're doing them with speed, right? And when I say speed, I don't mean rushing things. I don't mean like subpar quality. You want to actually do things at a high quality and fast, right? Because I think a lot of people, when they hear speed, okay, let me just rush this and make it like not so great. No, you want to do things fast and high quality. And what that'll do is show the influencer that you're serious about this, and also like that you're rare, because not many people do that, work fast and at a high quality. So if you can do that, you're gonna, firstly, make the influencer even happier that they've, in the business relationship with you, but also you'll actually make more money because other businesses, other like influencers, they won't be working as hard as you are. So by default, since business is a race and a competition, if you're working faster and harder and smarter, then you will outcompete and you'll win and you'll make more money. And so that was literally the case with Joseph and I. So yeah, like we were both executing. That's the thing. Like I was doing my part, he was doing his part. So, I would build the back-end systems and just behind the scenes stuff. And then he would be posting, promoting it. Like it was a perfect business harmony. And I think once you can find an influencer who can complement your skill set and just, you could say yin and yang. I don't know if that's cheesy, but you're literally operating at what you do best. It really, like, that's how you make a lot of money. And I think it's what separates a shadow operating business that does like 10K a month to one that does 30, 40, 50, 100, you get the point, and above, right? It's these things that you can't see, right? So the communication, the speed of execution, the trust, like the things you can't see is what make all the difference. And so yeah, like that was the second thing, is just executing things fast, because when you can execute fast, you'll be able to like get direct feedback. So whether it worked or not, right? So for example, let's say I changed the website text. Now we can see, all right, so the next 100 people who visit, is that going to increase the amount of like people who go through the next step? Is that going to decrease it? Like, so we can actually get data on whether the change that we made was good or not. So like, that's why if you can execute fast, you'll understand what works better, and then you can basically adapt and keep going from there. And yeah, like that's honestly a really big, important part. I think the third thing you could say is, actually, you know what, this should have been right at the beginning before communication, but it's trust, right? Because a partnership is like, you could say like it can become a skyscraper, right? If you want it to be. So yeah, let's go with that analogy. So let's think of this influencer partnership like a big skyscraper, okay? And it has the potential to go up to like Burj Khalifa level, but only if you build the foundation right. So as I was saying with the pillars, the communication, the, what was the other one? I think speed of execution, and then yeah, we're on trust, right? Like these are the three main pillars to that skyscraper. And so, yeah, like with the communication, obviously important, execution, and then, yeah, the trust is a big one. So if you have those, you'll be able to kind of build level by level. And you could say as time goes on, the levels go up as long as those three things are intact, right? And you can build from there. If you don't have one of those things, it could not do so well. It'll be like Jenga, right? Like you pull out a piece and it falls down. So the trust is a big one. And I think like you should be able to share account logins to platforms. You should be able to, you log into the influencer's Instagram and he or she trusts that you don't do anything, like there should be that level of trust, because if not, I just don't think it'll work. And you really need that trust. Like I've got a client of mine, it's so cool that, so firstly he came to me and he was new to this business model and he wanted to do this. So I helped him get his first client. He got it in like a month, and it's so good because the influencer that he found is actually in the same city as him. So ideally, if you are able to meet the influencer in person, that would be good. If not, that's fine as well. Like for the first 6 months, because I was in a different country to Joseph, I was in Australia, he was in Dubai, like UAE. We were actually doing it online. So it still works, but yeah, if you can meet them in person, that's even better. So yeah, like my client, right? The influencer he's working with is literally in the same city. So like he told me the other day that the influencer was actually coming to his house to film videos. And so that level of being able to trust each other and have that proximity is only going to help and only going to make the business do so much better. And so trust is a big one. And I can tell you why Joseph trusted me, because I had actually worked for his company like years prior. So I got the job, I think out of like 3,800 people. And that's because I had experience in marketing, and not a marketing degree by any means, but I had actually started my own e-commerce brand. I talked about this in a couple of videos ago, but I actually built that business leveraging influencers. So like I had this fitness product and I sent it to influencers, they promoted it, and then I got sales. So yeah, if you think about it, I've actually been working with influencers for the past 6-7 years, just in a different form, right? Anyway, I got off tangent. So yeah, I got the job from Joseph. I worked at his marketing company for 2 years. I obviously did a good enough job and helped the business grow. And so when I left the company, I did my own thing. I did some crypto. And then I was like, actually, let me reach back out to Joseph. I think there's an opportunity here to build some business with him. And because at the time when I was working for him, he was just offering fitness programs. So there was no business coaching. But I'm like, wait a sec, bro, like you're a successful guy. You've got a Lambo. You've like built a successful business. I think people want to actually learn business from you too. So that was the thing. So we launched a business coaching program. And yeah, back to my point on trust is like, he trusted me because I had proven myself actually for a couple of years. But that's a unique case. And of course, like you probably won't go through the experience I had where you get a job, work 2 years, and then you probably won't be doing that. And I don't it's the long way. It's the more difficult way. I don't suggest that. The method that I teach and the way the partnership structure is set up allows for them to trust you, because you're not asking for money up front. In fact, you're saying, don't pay me anything. Let me prove myself first. And then if I help you generate results, you can pay me. If I don't do nothing, well then that's fine. You can move on and we can stop this, right? So that's the pitch. Then that's kind of like how you can gain the trust, is by not asking for anything up front and just saying, look, I'm going to give my full focus to you. Let me prove myself, and then we can talk about the money. And I think if you approach it that way, it will be so much more better. And yeah, so that's the third pillar of this business partnership, and kind of like the thing Joseph and I have. And look, those are the 3 pillars, right? But there are are a couple other things I do want to mention as well that are also very important. So what the second one is obviously improving. So like, but how would I, so like you track different things in the business, right? So you see, okay, how much revenue is coming in this month? How many new members? What's the conversion rate? What's the retention rate? All these types of things, right? So these are kind of like different metrics in your business. And so if you see one that is lower or higher than the others, then you can actually directly see which part of the funnel is responsible for that. So for example, let's say the influencer did an Instagram story and it got like 10,000 views, right? And then they had the link to go to the website, but the website views on the day of the story were like only 100 or like very low, right? That's 0.1% or something. So then you're like, okay, well, look, if they're not coming to the actual website, that means that whatever the influencer posted was probably not generating enough curiosity and didn't make people want to click. So you know, okay, it's not the website, it was the story or the post, whatever. But then let's say you did get like out of the 10,000 people who saw that Instagram story, let's say, I don't know, 5,000 visited the website. Then you know, okay, damn, that was a really good CTA. That was like a really good call to action. Whatever you wrote in that Instagram story or whatever you said was working. So that's kind of like how you can tell. And then again, you could go to the next step. It's like, okay, from the website to joining, what's that look like? So you get the point. So this is what I mean when I say improve, is you want to let the influencer know. So going back to communication and saying, okay, look, this is an issue right now. We need to fix this. I'm going to go ahead and make this change. Are you okay with that? Yes. Okay. And then you fix something and then going like that, right? That's kind of the best way I could say it. And you want to almost isolate each change so you can see what the difference is. Because if you change multiple things at once, and let's say, okay, you change whatever messaging you're promoting, then you change the website, then you change the product, it's like you won't know exactly what affected that result. So it's kind of going back to like science. I don't know if you guys did that in high school. But yeah, you have your hypothesis, okay, and then you want to test this specific thing and then see if it made a difference. So yeah, it's a very scientific based approach, you could say, but you know, like it definitely works. So that's the other thing on the partnership. Now, I would say, yeah, those are honestly the main things when it comes to working with an influencer. You want to make sure you can communicate with them, trust them, like execute fast. Honestly, those are the main things. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you found value, please like, subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one.